Alright, welcome everyone. We've had some visual difficulties today. It took me ages to get OBS up, it just was not opening. But nevertheless, I persisted and we are now up and running. So let's begin. Gold, we are bearish on the 2 hour. That remains the same. Nothing really to chart up at the moment. My levels remain set. Silver, I drew this up in the morning. I'm not really going to put that much emphasis on it. A few reasons being, first one is we are actually bullish in the short term and we're bullish on the weekly. We are only bearish on the daily, as you can see here. With this being our daily high, or our daily market structure high. So we'll see if we do ever get any breaks or moves into this zone. Otherwise, yeah, we're still bullish in the short term or in the low time frame, and that can be seen here with heavy demand. So unless we get a deep pullback into here, like really running through this and then a slow move up, still maintaining the same distance between tap 1 and 2 and tap 2 and 3. Already this is looking like it would be a bigger distance between tap 2 and 3 compared to tap 1 and 2. So like already this isn't really a high probability range and probably will not play out, so I will not be paying too much attention on it, and if anything I expect higher. My order flow expectations here are mitigation of demand and just continue to push through. So we will see what happens there. Yeah, that is all I got for silver for the time being. Let's have a look at oil. We were bullish on the hourly, and since then we have actually broken structure, and we are now bearish. We are now bearish on the hourly. We might be bearish on, sorry, I was looking at the 15-minute, my apologies guys. But that still applies, we have officially broken structure on the hourly. I don't think we have on the, yeah, not on the 4 hourly, but on the hourly we are bearish. There you go, and other than that, nothing else really. No other range I'm too interested in. If we happen to come up in here, then I can start drawing a potential range like that. But we'll just have to see what happens. So yeah, nothing really to do at the moment for oil. USD JPY. Just before we started streaming, I took this short, which got stopped out pretty much straight away. Like honestly, it was a pretty high probability move. Like really fairly high probability move. Fantastic return to zone. Asia highs got taken. We had our Asia lows beautifully intact here. I can chart that up for you guys. Yeah, I was pretty much about to click record and then I saw this setup, so I had to quickly get my, it was like a semi-rushed setup. The reason I'm saying it's semi-rushed was because I wasn't actually on camera at this break of structure at 5 o'clock on the dot. So we broke structure at 5 o'clock on the dot. You could have entered there quite comfortably. And then since then, we had a... I'm actually seeing this just now. We had this structure supply, which I entered off. I pretty much just entered off every test. So I waited for price to come back. Did not wait for any sort of break of structure whatsoever and just entered as soon as price touched this retest, thinking that, you know, the return to zone is just this pure, that Asia lows are untapped, Asia highs have been swept. There's no more reason for price to go any higher. And lo and behold, it went higher and took me out. But we also had this supply error. I always like to think, well, what have I done in hindsight? But at the end of the day, it's a thing that you do in a live situation, so your emotions are, you know, running pretty high. In hindsight, because I rushed, there was this refined 2-minute supply above, and knowing me, I always like to go for that refined area. So what I would have done is, if I had seen this 2-minute supply OBIF, which I kind of just looked at the whole move and just went, yep, supply, I'll enter, I would probably waited to see if price comes in here. But then even so, it could have like gone into like here, then it could have gone into like here without actually going all the way up into the supply and start raging, and that would have probably just FOMO'd in and entered there. So regardless, I feel like I entered regardless. But I'm happy with my entry. The setup was great. Like, it wasn't a sketchy setup. The setup was really, really good. It also had range for, I think, like 12, 13 hours, which is, yeah, 14 hours, which is fairly decent for a low time frame scalp. You kind of want something at least over 11 hours normally, which is what we got. So yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this move. We just got unlucky and the market didn't go our way this time, but that is part of the game we play. So given we have quite clearly invalidated this Model 1 distribution setup, I feel like we are going to go into this market structure high and either break through and close above, or we will SFP and potentially get it even, or like a full return back down, at least in the short to mid-term. So we will see what happens there. But yeah, that was the idea, which didn't go to plan on this instance. Awesome. Let's move on to USD CHF. What's the 8-hour market structure? As of now, we're still SFPing it, so this candle closure will be very important. $11.7. So yeah, at 11 o'clock we will get the candle closure. So it will be interesting to see how this candle closes. But from a local standpoint, we might be distributing. Still bullish on the hourly. We might distribute. We'll see. If we distribute on this 8-hour SFP, that will be pretty high confluence. So yeah, we will see what happens there. Alerts have been set. Let's have a look at GBP AUD. We're still slowly doing our little high time frame accumulation model, and we are still fairly bearish across the board here. we will see what happens. I'm not like you got supply above. Which is pretty much mitigated on the, whenever you see supply like this, which is just no clear bearish or bullish move, leaving any form of imbalance. When you see price action like this, just slow, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. It's not the cleanest supply, and I wouldn't really take it into consideration, which is why I am removing that as is. Yeah, nothing clear on GBP AUD. I'm not gonna force anything for the sake of it. Let's move on. The GBP JPY plan is still there. I'll tell you what, if we pre-plan this to the exact, and I'm like sleeping when the setup presents itself, I'll be like, bruh, come on. This is still, at play. We are yet to break bullish. So we'll see what happens with this range. AUD USD has mitigated this supply. Some slight air. Maybe a very low time frame compression here, which can be a little visible at the moment. Yeah, we are still bullish, so look for us to go higher, look for accumulations wherever you can. No real demand in here, I think. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Nah. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave this as is. I'm not gonna try force anything. Well, there you go, the reaction from the SFP. Let's clean this up a little bit. Make this chart look a lot better. I'm going to confidently say we're no longer bullish on the one hour. Broke structure there to bullish. Technically we are still bullish because this is our hourly market structure low. So for now we are bullish. Boom. Broken structure 2 bearish. Yeah, and we are bearish on the 4 hourly. No sign of local distributions forming, so you just want to let price do its thing here. GBP USD. Somewhat of a distribution here, tap 1, 2, and 3, which kind of completed itself, I guess. Still bullish on the 4 hour, that is fine. Well, we have supply here. Should we reach it? It kind of does look like it has been partially mitigated on the lower time frame, but we can still use this move. That is fine. I'm very much okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. Awesome. Yeah, that's kind of it for GBP USD. Same thing, we don't need to force anything. GBP NZD has ran through this. Have we broken structure 2 bullish? I believe we may have. Yes, we are now bullish on the hourly. Are we bullish on the 4 hour? No. Just bullish on the hourly here. We're also technically bullish on the 2 hour. 3? No, just the 2 hour. If given we're doing this, yeah. Like we've left demand. I will use this as demand. If there was any form of supply here, we've kind of ran through it. We do have liquidity above. It's not even real liquidity, like there's not much here. So yeah, same thing. I'm not going to try and milk anything from where we are at the moment. Just let price do its thing. NZD CAD. I do feel like we will make it towards this low in the near future, I'll put it that way. Quite heavy supply above us. Which is a valid lower time frame structure supply. That's fine. That is very okay. I don't think we'll be bullish. Maybe we will be. Second thoughts. Yeah, we're still bullish. We are still bullish. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Patience, patience, patience. USD CAD, this will be moved to the top. Now it is worth to note it is semi-counter context, because we're pretty bullish on the high time frames. Trending down, trending down. Structure is... We are officially bullish with that ever so slight candle closure. You can just see it there. I'm referring to this one. So we are ever so slightly now bullish on the 4 hourly as well. So yeah, overall fairly counter context here. We've also got demand, yeah, like you are pretty counter context here. If anything, you might be able to catch a very low time frame scalp and then just like I would even full TP or like 75% TP here. Wouldn't even bother trying to hold through. Like you're against everything. You got demand, context is bullish. There's just no real reason for this to make it to the range low if we get a break of structure upon sweeping liquidity and extreme supply. Yeah, alerts are still set. We will see what happens. There's your hourly market structure low as well. That's also your Asia low below. But yeah, they've... It could be a potential very low time frame scalp, you know what I mean? So we will see. Euro NZD. High time frame is bullish. So ideally, I would like this to be a range. In the ideal world, we deviate this tab 1 and we form a little accumulation model, but we're still a while away from that happening. But we are forming some nice highs, at least in the time being. that's it. That's the context there. Alright, AUD CAD. Overall, very, very bullish context here. Just for my own curiosity, we'll see if anything plays out here. ADCHF. Slowly, I will prioritize this as well. We'll be soon making out first deviation and second tap by the looks of it. You can see we do have distribution here. So overall, I don't mind this. I actually don't mind this. So we'll see what happens there. Just had a look at that AUD CAD Euro GBP. I think we broke the structure there, yeah, is what we have, and now we're pulling back because it was a weak break of structure, but we're still technically bullish on the. Yep, we're still technically bullish on the 4 hour. Are we now bearish on the hour? Not yet. If we close above here, we'll soon be bearish on the hourly. There's no real. I could do that. Three-hour OBIF. All right, that's it for Forex and commodities. If we can get a little pullback, because we're still bullish on the 4 hourly. So if we can get something like this happening, and then a break, then we can long that high, at least to this swing high. Like I'd be willing to long to this swing high. So we'll see what happens there. Just keep an eye out. Let's move into crypto. Yeah, still kind of in this weird, awkward ranging environment from Bitcoin. As per this drawing, we have swept all these lows. There was a nice sell side liquidity forming below us from a local perspective. Like I'm still kind of just waiting to see what happens here. Not much more to do, and then there's AUDCHF doing its thing. So but yeah, not much for Bitcoin. Let's skip ETH for now and go to USDT dominance. What was this, an 8 hour? No, it couldn't have been an 8 hour SFP. What was it, a 4 hour, 3 hour SFP? 4 hour, 3 hour. Okay, it was a 3 hour SFP. Three-hour SFP there. ever so slight demand in there. Ideally, I'm looking for something refined, like some overlapping refined demand, but I have a feeling if there was, it's been mitigated in that move, which we can just see there. Yeah, so this has all been mitigated as it can be seen. What I will do though is just highlight the unmitigated part of this demand right there. We can get pullbacks into it. I'm not gonna say that can't happen. So contextually speaking, at the moment for USDT, we are expecting a continuation of this pullback into this demand at least. Maybe we even break through. I don't know. We'll see. But at least for now, in the very short term, that does mean slightly higher for alts. We kind of can see that in this leg from Bitcoin. ETH as well. Litecoin, I do remember a really nice potential schematic forming there. Beautiful reaction from demand. So let's see where we're at now. We have supply in here. I will obviously double check to see if this has been mitigated on the lower time frames. All right, let's put this to the test. Yeah, it does look mitigated on the lower time frame. Or does it? Okay, not quite. Nice. Very valid supply. Very valid supply. So I would not be looking at anything until we come into this supply. Full stop. There's probably some liquidity here you can use, but once again, I would only be looking at supply. Yeah, there's your extreme liquidity right there. So yeah, this can give us a pretty decent entry on Litecoin. So we'll see if and when we come back up into this POI. Ideally, I'm hoping for a bit more of a, I don't want something so quick and so close, like between this tap, it's just too close. I would like us to range, even come in a bit lower, potentially show that sign of that real sign of weakness, and then slowly come back up, mitigate, and then break of structure. That would be ideal, but we will see what happens. XLM, not a whole lot. With not a whole lot there. I will be readjusting this range, but I do think that it will be pretty finito soon, put it that way. There is my extreme liquidity. Yeah, that's fine right there. Just trying to see if we have any sort of demand below that might be worthwhile. You got this, but it's not. Okay, a few things are happening at the moment. Alright, USD CHF, Euro USD and AUD CHF. A few things happening there. Okay, we've created our first tap there. Let's have a look what Euro USD is doing. Mitigated some form of demand. Awesome. AUD probably mitigated some. Okay. Really, really nice. Really, really nice there. So we'll move these up. So the Swiss pairs are doing decent. Okay, I do feel like this will get invalidated, but only time will tell. Well, there was that Doge potential short, which I had a look. What we can see, which is to note that it has swept extreme liquidity. It's even grabbed this low as a matter of fact, which is probably a valid low to be fair. So there you go there, and you could have kind of taken your risk off for like a 2.32 RR, which is not the best, not the worst. But that means we can use this new range. This could be demand. Yeah. Pretty, this has all been mitigated. Yeah, we'll wait and see how we play out here. We'll set some alerts. There was our little Fartcoin play there. Leave that as is, nothing really. Maybe you can catch a very short scalp and maintain the, you know. See what happens there. Ton anything worthwhile. No, we continue going lower here. Continue going lower on ton. We've technically made our model 1. Ideally, I do not want this to get deviated again. Then I have a market structure high here on the 15-minute. 15-minute, that's fine. Pump, not a whole lot. I am not too interested in this pair right now. Pepe, same thing, not a whole lot. Tau, man, this was so frustrating that we missed out on this whopping 11. Fuck. This is the game you play, guys. This is the game you play. This will be the most journaled trade I missed. Oh, yeah, it is what it is. We've spoken about it. Move on. Virtual. We'll see what happens there. XMR, not a whole lot happening here. Yeah. Render. Same thing, not a whole lot. Like, I'm very big on just making these ranges look pristine. If anything, like, it takes too long to sort of like, if you have to like pull it out of thin air, then it's just not really going to be a nice range. Maybe you might have something here. But even this in itself looks very market structure like. Which I'm not too fond of normally. There's my demand, and then I think I can already see extreme liquidity right above it. That will be extreme liquidity. Cake. Not really a fan of the price action here. Yeah, we still have this sort of setup. We'll see what happens. Give it some time. Yeah, we're kind of going through this demand. I'll chart this for the sake of it, but it's kind of in no man's land. Aave. This Aave move will be semi-interesting. It's kind of already completed itself, which I don't really like. Like, yeah, like I'll use this POI, but yeah, we'll use this POI for now, but I would like to see a nice slower return to zone in here. All right, XRP, not a whole lot. Sui, not a whole lot here. This could be okay. Like the return to zone is really, really nice, but it's just too market structure like for me, which I don't like. It's too downward. Yeah, and there's just that, yeah, you're trying to accumulate in the middle of nowhere. We spoke about this previously in the other, yesterday or the day before, so I don't want to be accumulating just in the middle of nowhere. Plain and simple. Nothing for Sol. Acid not giving me anything. Nothing for Link. Nothing for Bitcoin Cash. Nothing for Trump. And nothing for Brett. Well, yeah, that's it. Maybe he has something. Maybe. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep an eye out on Litecoin. Yeah, this is our main pair to watch, and then Forex, remember, USD CAD and the Swiss pairs. Keep a big eye out for them. So yeah, thank you all, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.